Hello, today is day 2, Unit 4, Empires and Colonies. Today we're going to talk about the Mughal Empire and religious diversity. We are moving on to day 2. So yesterday we were in post-Napoleonic Europe and America, and we're going to move now around the globe all the way to India. It may seem like events in India are totally unrelated to those of Europe and America, but they're actually pretty well united, as we are going to see as we move forward in Bengal, the East India Company, the First War for Indian Independence, and the British Raj in India. They are going to be connected via empires, especially the British Empire, as we move forward into the 19th century. Question number 1. How did the Hindu caste system impact Indian history and life in the present day? So Hinduism is a religion, but it's also a collection of beliefs and a way of life. It is polytheistic, as in there are many gods. It's also henotheistic, because worshippers usually focus on one main god and then recognize that many other gods continue to exist. The major belief of Hinduism is that of samsara, or reincarnation. That means that when a person dies, they are born again into another life as a different human. And the idea is that karma, the amount of good things you do in your life, enables you to move up, or if you do bad things, you move down a level. This means that your actions in this life determine your status in the next. It also means that your status in this life is determined by your actions in your past life or lives. This is used for justification of the caste system. The caste system is exemplified by the picture on the right-hand side of this individual here, the Brahmins being the top caste, pointing at the head here. Whereas as you go down lower, you have like the Shudras at the bottom here, pointing at the foot. They are the lowest caste of laborers. Caste with a C is a little bit more permanent than class. It doesn't necessarily have anything to do with your wealth. It has everything to do with your social status and your job and your experience. So if you are a terrible person in your past life, you would find yourself as a low caste person in this life. This historically has meant that Hindu countries like India are very, very stable and unchanging. Things don't change very much because there's no reason for the low caste people to rise up and rebel, as they would believe that their status as low caste was deserved because of their past actions. This henotheistic, polytheistic kind of religion also led Hinduism to be remarkably stable, because when new gods from outside cultures were brought into India, they were often just absorbed into the Hindu pantheon. Temples like the ones at the bottom of the screen would have depictions of many different gods on the outside of them. And as new gods came into India, for example, Buddhism, and you have Ashoka's picture down here at the bottom right, Buddhism could easily be understood inside the Hindu universe as Buddha being simply yet another god. Hinduism is one of the world's oldest religions. It began in at least the year 2300 BCE, making it at least 4,320 years old based on the archaeological evidence. It's also continuing to be the third largest religion in terms of the number of followers in the world today. This brings us to question number 2. What effect did Muslim expansion have on India? So India was a Hindu country for somewhere around 3,000 years. And as new gods and religions and ideas were brought in, they were simply absorbed into Hinduism. But Islam is going to be different. Muslim invaders come into India through the Indus River Valley from the west. They come from Turkey, Afghanistan, Persia, etc. They're going to bring in a new religion, the religion of Islam. And this is going to be the first time that a religion is incompatible with the polytheism of Hinduism. These invaders called themselves sultans, and the areas they took over, sultanates. Sultan is just a Persian word that means effectively king or prince, and a sultanate is effectively a kingdom. The Muslim armies came in on highly mobile horse cavalry, and they won fight after fight against the Hindu war elephants. The style of fighting was just more successful. The Muslims believed they were fighting a holy war against the Hindu heathens or Hindu pagans. And the Muslims came in and set up what is called a sultanate, and they set up the city of Delhi, Delhi, in the north of India, which continues to be the capital of India even today. Muslim architecture and the architecture of the sultanate is going to impact the way parts of India look, and the Delhi sultans are going to continue their holy war against Hindus in ways that persecute Hindus for their belief, tax them for being non-Muslims, and etc. One positive, constructive thing that the Muslims brought to India is that when the Persian-speaking Muslims arrived, their language melded with the Hindi-speaking Hindus, and a new language was born that we call Urdu. So what did this mean for regular people? How did the Muslim beliefs of the Delhi sultans cause conflict with Hindus? Why couldn't they just get along? The new sultans at Delhi did not respect the Hindu beliefs of the majority of the people in their empire. This meant that Islam, again, would be the first new religion to not just get absorbed into the Hindu pantheon. Muslims are strict monotheists, and also they do not allow images of their god or prophets or any of the other people in their stories. They fear idolatry or the worship of objects as if those things are God. Hindus, on the other hand, have many gods and have many images of their gods on all of their temples. This was incompatible, and the Muslims, disgusted by Hindu temples full of statues of gods and goddesses, destroyed many Hindu temples across the Delhi Sultanate. The photo on the left is a temple in Gujarat that was destroyed by Muslims. The image in the center is a drawing of a temple that was destroyed. The reason it's a drawing is obviously because the temple was destroyed. This conflict between the two cultures and the incompatibility of their beliefs can also be symbolized in their attitude towards food. So we have an image here, or two images here, of adorable cows. And in Hinduism, cows are sacred. They cannot be killed. They represent the mother goddess. In their milk, they feed humanity, etc., etc. The Muslim attitude towards cattle is that they are food. This rendered the two cultures utterly incompatible because one side, worshiping them as literal gods, were seen as idol worshippers by the Muslims, and the Muslims, slaughtering and eating beef, were seen as literally killing a Hindu goddess. Attitudes toward music were equally incompatible. Muslims were opposed to music as an offense to God, a sin, whereas music was an essential part of the Hindu religious experience. After many years of this fighting and oppression by the Muslims against the Hindus, we have a new empire. Oh, side note, when I visited the Elephanta Caves about 6 years ago in Mumbai in India, first of all, the caves protected the temples from being destroyed because they're inside caves. And then secondly, I just wanted to point out that there's a cow just sort of chilling here by the signs. Cows can go wherever they want in Hindu India. Last question for today. Why were Babur and Akbar important to the Mughal Empire? So, the Delhi sultans persecuted the Hindus, and after many years, a new group of people invaded India, the Mughals. led originally by Babur, who is said to be the grandson of the original Mongol Emperor Genghis Khan. His grandson Babur invaded India and made the Mongol Empire, but also pronounced Mughal. Mongol, Mughal, same group of people, just a new pronunciation for a new location. Babur, here on the left upper corner, conquered the green area and made it the Mughal Empire. Then his grandson Akbar, the Great, conquered even more land and made that part of the Mughal Empire. By the 1700s, the Mughal Empire was controlled most of the Indian subcontinent. And the Mughal Empire is important, and Akbar is known as the Great because of this. The Mughals brought a golden age to India. The empire expanded across India, and everywhere that the Mughals went, the golden age followed. Why was it a golden age? Well, mostly because of its toleration. Non-Muslims were not fined and forced to pay extra taxes for being non-Muslims. Hindu temples were no longer destroyed. Prosperity abounded everywhere. New beautiful palaces and monuments like the Taj Mahal, new styles of architecture like the Red Fort in Delhi were there not just for defense, but also as architectural and artistic expression. Akbar and the Mughal Golden Age lasted from the 1500s all the way through till about 1700. And for those 15, 16, 1700, 200 years, India experienced a golden age of peace, prosperity, and overall, mostly institutional religious tolerance. Okay, that is the end of that lesson. Send your summaries to Canvas and complete your history, interpretation, evidence homework.